Comic-Con can almost be looked at as a microcosm of the entertainment industry as a whole. We used to just go to Comic-Con and actually see like these huge panels full of celebrities or whatever that most people couldn't get into, but they would draw huge crowds. Now we're seeing something different this year because the strikes going on right now prevent a lot of these people from actually attending. So instead of actually just ending the cons altogether, what we're seeing is these independent creators actually rise up and starting to take the spot. Are they getting the huge numbers that the Hall H panels used to get? Well, no, we're not seeing that, because when you have independent creators, what you get is you get a more devoted audience, but there's going to be fewer of them, but that's okay. Right now we have this coming on right now. Chris Gore, Eric July, and Nerdrotic wow the Comic-Con crowd with uplifting talks on the future of independent media. And that's really the important thing to take away from this right now, because with this going on, we're seeing a lot of bombs at the box office from these major studios like Flash, Indiana Jones, Fast X, Elementals. I mean, these huge studios are putting out these multi-$100 million movies, and they're not resonating with audiences that they used to. In an effort to try to appeal to mass audiences, they're ultimately appealing to no audience that actually loves them. At best, they just get a big audience that actually just likes it. But I think with the independents, what we're seeing is people that are having a smaller fan base, but they're having a more loyal fan base and a more devoted fan base, people who actually love this. And I think Hollywood can actually take a note from that. And these strikes that are going on right now are ultimately detrimental to the industry as a whole. I mean, entertainment mogul Barry Diller warns Hollywood strike will cause absolute collapse of the industry, and he was going on to say that this will happen if they continue this into December. Right now, the studios are losing $600K a week with these strikes going on. Mission Impossible's Haley Atwell says Hollywood is absolutely on its knees, and this is also before the strikes, and then the strikes are just kind of exacerbating things. So what we have now is an industry that really needs to come back to work right now, and it's not. And with the strikes going on, people wanting more money and better pay is ultimately going to be like a cut off your nose to spite your face sort of thing, because if they collapse the industry, well, they're out of work too. So they can hurt the studios, but that also is hurting them too. So what's going to happen? I think this is what's going to happen, is there's going to see a resurgence of independent media. And is that necessarily going to be the whole thing? No. The studios aren't going to absolutely collapse. I mean, they're still going to be putting out stuff, but I think what we're going to see is less of these huge, big budget blockbusters that have been going on that require $1 billion box office gross in order to succeed. And we're going to see more lower budget movies. Like right now we have in the theater Oppenheimer, Barbie. I mean, those are still huge movies with $100 million, $145 million respectively for each movie. So, I mean, that's still outside the range of most independent creators, but it's still lower than a lot of the other movies that have been coming out this summer. And those ones are the ones that look like they're actually going to really succeed. So maybe we should get more of that, or even then just like tone it down even more. I'm saying like 10, 15, 20, maybe $30 million movies. I'd like a day where we see a $50 million movie is probably the expensive one. It's going to cater to a really devoted audience that is smaller but is more loyal, and that's all you need right now. You don't need to have such a niche audience, or you don't want to have such a niche audience where only 2 people go to see it, but you also don't need something that everyone has to go see multiple times in order for you to succeed. And I think this panel that they put on here is actually the important part of this. Nerdrotic, he actually had a really good thing to say about this, where it's all about authenticity. You have to be genuine to your audience, and you can't get that with these huge big budget movies where everything has to be built by committee and focus group to the up the wazoo in order for it to actually be put out. You just make something that from the heart, and that's only coming about when you give the directors creative control and you let them have their vision. And studios only do that when they give them smaller budgets to that, because then it's less risk for them. And yeah, if you have these literal budget movies like 10, $20 million movies, studios can't eat the loss if it actually fails. But when it succeeds, I mean, it's going to succeed big. And we're seeing that right now in the theaters with like Insidious, which is doing really good. Sound of Freedom just broke $100 million on a $15 million budget. So maybe we'll get more of that. And at least I hope that's what the takeaway from all these strikes and things going on now, because that's really what, as an audience member, I really want to see, is more love from the creators of this and less of a boardroom making decisions. But let me know what you think about all this in the comments. And if you like the video, click the like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date with the latest news. Thank you.